If your woman is deploying these psychological tactics, understand clearly that what you're experiencing isn't love, it's systematic manipulation. She's not confused about what she's doing. She's not accidentally disrespecting you. She knows exactly what she's executing, testing your boundaries, controlling your emotional state, seeing precisely how far she can push before you finally break or establish consequences. Most men ignore the glaring signs because they desperately don't want to believe it's happening to them. They rationalize, they make excuses, they convince themselves it's temporary or that they're overreacting, but denial doesn't protect you, it only extends your suffering. We're going to systematically expose 5 psychological games women deploy when they're losing respect for you or actively manipulating you. If you recognize any of these patterns in your relationship, don't waste energy arguing about it or explaining yourself. Don't try to convince her to stop. Just start emotionally detaching immediately. Because these behaviors don't improve through discussion. They only escalate until you enforce boundaries through action. She saves your contact under a strange name. When a woman deliberately hides your actual name in her phone, that's not about privacy or personal preference. That's strategic concealment. Maybe she stored you under a random emoji that means nothing. Maybe it's a fake nickname that has no connection to you. Maybe it's just initials that could represent anyone. And when you eventually notice and question it, she'll offer some dismissive explanation like I just like keeping things private or it's not a big deal, stop being paranoid. But beneath that casual dismissal, you can feel something is fundamentally off. A woman who's genuinely proud of you, who respects you, who sees you as her man, doesn't hide you. She wants people to know she's with someone she values. She wants her name attached to yours. But when she deliberately conceals your identity in her phone, what she's actually doing is creating psychological and social distance, quietly preparing an escape route while keeping you functioning as her emotional backup, her security blanket, her source of validation and attention. You don't need to argue about this or demand she change it. Just step back and observe the broader pattern. Because the moment a woman starts hiding your presence or existence, she's showing you exactly where you stand in her priorities, in the shadows, as something she's not proud to claim publicly. And here's where most men catastrophically fail. They start confronting her directly, begging for honesty, demanding explanations, trying to make her see how disrespectful it is. But confrontation only feeds her ego in this scenario. It confirms that you're emotionally hooked, that she has power over you, that you care more than she does. So instead of confronting, go strategically silent. Let your silence and withdrawal expose the truth more effectively than any words could. Because the more you consciously pull back your attention and investment, the faster her manipulative mask starts slipping. She'll either reveal more of her true intentions, or she'll panic at losing control and temporarily adjust her behavior. Either way, you gain clarity. But here's the critical part most men don't see coming. The secrecy around your contact information always leads directly to the next stage of manipulation. She becomes constantly unavailable. You call, and there's no answer. You send texts, and there's no reply for hours, sometimes an entire day. And when she finally responds, it's always some lazy, transparent excuse. Oh, I was just really busy today. Or I fell asleep early, sorry. Now listen carefully, everyone genuinely gets busy sometimes. Life happens. Schedules get overwhelming. That's normal and understandable. But when unavailability becomes a consistent, recognizable pattern, when her absence starts feeling deliberately intentional rather than circumstantial, it's no longer about her schedule or responsibilities. It's about control. She's systematically training you to accept less from her, to lower your expectations progressively, to start doubting your own worth and whether you deserve basic communication and respect. And that psychological conditioning is the truly dangerous part of this tactic. Because the moment you start chasing her attention, the moment you begin texting multiple times, or calling repeatedly, or asking why she's distant, she wins the power game completely. She learns through your behavior that she can disappear whenever she wants, and you'll still be waiting like a loyal dog at the door when she decides to return. Don't fall into this trap. Withdraw quietly and completely. Stop rewarding inconsistent behavior with your continued attention and availability. A woman who truly values you, who respects your time and investment, won't make you compete for her basic attention and communication. She'll protect the connection. She'll prioritize staying in touch. She'll make effort because she doesn't want to risk losing you. But a woman playing manipulation games will deliberately create distance to establish dominance and test how much disrespect you'll tolerate. And that pattern brings us directly to the next escalation stage of the manipulation game. When she's not just emotionally distant anymore, she starts actively provoking you on purpose. She flirts with other men, but dismisses them as just friends. You'll notice the shift in her behavior. She laughs noticeably too hard at another man's jokes when you're present. She gets suspiciously comfortable texting other men late at night. She posts something on social media that feels deliberately off, designed to make you question or react. Content that seems aimed at other men rather than you. Then when you finally mention it or express concern, she immediately flips the script back on you with aggressive defensiveness. You're just being insecure. You're controlling. You're jealous for no reason. You don't trust me. No, brother, that's not insecurity on your part. That's awareness. That's your instincts correctly picking up on boundary violations and disrespect. You're not imagining things or overreacting. You're accurately picking up on the fundamental shift in energy that occurs when loyalty becomes optional and respect disappears entirely. She wants you to see her flirting. She wants you to notice the attention she's getting from other men. Because she's deliberately testing your boundaries, seeing how far she can push before you establish consequences. It's psychological warfare disguised as innocent friendship and social interaction. And most men lose this battle catastrophically because they start competing with other men for her attention. They try harder to prove their worth. They become more attentive, more accommodating, more desperate to win her focus back. But a man of genuine value doesn't compete for loyalty that should be freely given. He doesn't enter auditioning competitions to prove he deserves basic respect. He simply removes himself from disrespectful situations. Let her flirt with whoever she wants. Let her maintain her just friends narrative. You stay calm, detached, and focused on your own purpose and mission. Because nothing exposes emotional immaturity and manipulative intent faster than a man who doesn't react emotionally to her provocations. And that silence, that calm self-control, that refusal to play her game, it makes her realize she's not dealing with an easily manipulated boy anymore. But the manipulation doesn't stop there, because the deeper psychological game she's playing is still coming. And it's the one that completely flips your perception of reality if you're not aware of it. She keeps saying you're lucky to have me. At first, this phrase sounds almost playful, harmless even. She'll smile, maybe tease you a bit, casually drop "you're lucky I'm with you," or "you should be grateful I chose you." Initially, you laugh it off. You think it's just her being confident or joking around, but over time, you start noticing a pattern. Those words consistently appear right after she's disrespected you, right after she's dismissed your feelings or concerns, right after you've made another sacrifice for her or gone out of your way to accommodate her. And instead of showing appreciation or gratitude for your effort, she reminds you you're lucky to have her. That phrase isn't genuine confidence. That's subtle but deliberate psychological dominance. She's systematically reminding you who she believes holds all the power in the relationship dynamic. It's her calculated way of communicating, "Don't forget, I have options, and I can replace you whenever I want." And here's where most men go completely wrong in their response. They start desperately trying to prove they're lucky to have her. They overcompensate massively. They buy expensive gifts. They chase her attention even harder. They sacrifice more of their time, resources, and dignity. They think that increased effort and demonstration of value will somehow bring her respect back. But it never does. It never will. Because respect doesn't return through increased effort or supplication. Respect only returns through strategic distance and demonstrated self-respect. When a woman starts telling you repeatedly that you're lucky to have her, quietly demonstrate, through your actions, why she's the one who should feel lucky. Pull back your energy, attention, and investment significantly. Let your presence become a privilege again, rather than a guarantee she takes for granted. Let her actually feel the weight and consequences of what she's been taking for granted. Because when a man stops desperately trying to prove his worth and instead embodies it through his choices and boundaries, everything shifts dramatically in the dynamic. Her ego loses its control mechanism. Reality hits her harder than any words you could possibly say. And here's the critical element most men completely miss in this progression. When she realizes she can no longer effectively manipulate you with words and emotional tactics, she upgrades her manipulation game. She attacks your peace and mental state directly. That's when the most dangerous and dismissive phrase emerges. She says, "I don't owe you any explanation." Understand what this phrase actually represents. That's not healthy independence or appropriate boundaries. That's emotional detachment wrapped in arrogance and entitlement. It means she wants all the freedom and benefits of being functionally single, while simultaneously receiving all the emotional support, validation, and benefits of being in a committed relationship. No accountability for her actions, no honest communication, no partnership, just unilateral dominance and control. When she deploys that line, when she tells you she owes you no explanation for her behavior or choices, she's not speaking to you as a partner anymore. She's speaking to you as someone she no longer respects on any meaningful level. And this is the breaking point where many men completely shatter emotionally, because a man who genuinely loves deeply will keep trying desperately to reason with her, to explain his perspective, to make her understand how her behavior affects him. But attempting to reason with someone who has already emotionally checked out of the relationship is like arguing with an echo in an empty canyon. You'll only hear your own pain and frustration coming back to you. There's no actual dialogue happening. So when she says, "I don't owe you any explanation for anything I do," don't react emotionally, don't argue, don't try to convince her she's wrong. That dismissive statement is your definitive cue to stop chasing closure or understanding and start immediately reclaiming your peace and self-respect, because the fundamental truth is this: silence and withdrawal are the only explanation you'll ever need to give in response. And when you walk away quietly with your dignity intact, she'll eventually realize what she actually lost. Not because you yelled or created drama, not because you begged or tried to make her feel guilty, but because your absence, your refusal to play her games anymore, spoke louder and more powerfully than her manipulation tactics ever could. Now let's go deeper into why these manipulation tactics are so psychologically effective and damaging. Each of these behaviors targets a specific aspect of male psychology. When she hides your name, she's attacking your status and the public acknowledgement of your relationship. Men need to feel claimed and valued. When she makes that invisible, it triggers deep insecurity about your position in her life. When she becomes constantly unavailable, she's attacking your sense of priority and importance. Men invest heavily in relationships and expect reciprocal investment. When availability becomes inconsistent, it creates anxiety and self-doubt about whether you matter at all to her. When she flirts with other men openly, she's attacking your position as her chosen man and triggering mate competition anxiety. This is one of the deepest male fears: being replaced or not being enough compared to other options. She knows this instinctively and weaponizes it. When she says you're lucky to have her, she's attacking your self-worth and inverting the power dynamic. Instead of mutual appreciation, she's establishing a hierarchy where you should be grateful she tolerates you. When she says she owes you no explanation, she's attacking your right to basic respect and partnership. She's unilaterally declaring that accountability doesn't exist in the relationship, and you have no standing to expect it. Understanding these psychological mechanisms is crucial because it allows you to see the manipulation clearly rather than getting lost in emotional reactions. When you understand what's being attacked and why, you can respond strategically rather than emotionally. Here's what most men don't grasp about why women deploy these tactics. It's not always conscious malice. Often, it's a test of your masculine frame. Women are biologically wired to test male strength and boundaries. A strong man maintains frame and enforces standards. A weak man compromises boundaries and accepts disrespect. She might not even consciously know she's testing you, but she is, and your response determines everything about how she perceives and treats you going forward. Some women do this consciously and maliciously. They're genuinely manipulative people who enjoy control and emotional games. These women cannot be fixed or reasoned with. Your only option is complete removal from your life. But other women do this semi-consciously as a test. They're checking whether you're actually the strong man you presented yourself as, or whether that was just an act. If you pass the test by maintaining boundaries and self-respect, attraction can actually increase. If you fail by compromising and accepting disrespect, attraction dies completely. The problem is you can't always tell which type you're dealing with until you respond correctly. So the response is the same regardless. Enforce boundaries. Maintain self-respect. Be willing to walk away. If she's testing, she'll respect you more and adjust her behaviour. If she's genuinely manipulative, she'll escalate and reveal her true nature, which gives you clarity to leave. Here's your action plan when you recognise these patterns. First, stop all emotional reactions. Don't argue, don't explain, don't try to make her see your perspective. Emotional reactions feed manipulation. They confirm you're hooked and can be controlled. Second, document the pattern mentally. Is this happening once or repeatedly? Is it escalating or stable? Patterns reveal truth more than individual incidents. Third, pull back your investment proportionally. If she's giving you 30% effort and availability, give her 30% back. Don't overinvest in someone who's underinvested in you. Fourth, focus that reclaimed energy on yourself. Hit the gym harder. Advance your career. Develop your friendships. Build your purpose. When you're genuinely focused on self-improvement, you become naturally less affected by her games. Fifth, observe her response to your withdrawal. Does she panic and try to pull you back in? Does she escalate manipulation? Does she simply not care? Her response tells you everything you need to know about whether this relationship is salvageable. If she responds with genuine concern, accountability, and behaviour change, the relationship might be worth saving. You've successfully reset the dynamic by enforcing boundaries. But if she responds with more manipulation, more disrespect, or complete indifference, you have your answer. This woman is not capable of or interested in genuine partnership. Walk away completely. Here's the hard truth about modern relationships that most men refuse to accept. Many women have been culturally programmed to believe they deserve unconditional commitment while offering conditional respect. They've been told they're queens who should never have to compromise or be accountable. They've been taught that any male expectation or boundary is toxic masculinity or controlling behaviour. This cultural programming creates women who genuinely believe manipulation is justified, who think testing men constantly is their right, who feel entitled to all the benefits of relationship without any of the responsibilities. And you cannot fix this through love or patience or communication. You cannot love someone out of entitlement. You can only enforce boundaries and be willing to walk away. The men who suffer most are good men with strong moral codes who believe in commitment and working through problems. These men stay far too long trying to fix unfixable situations because walking away feels like failure or giving up. But staying in a manipulative relationship isn't noble. It's self-betrayal. It's teaching someone that disrespecting you has no consequences. You have to internalize this truth. Walking away from disrespect is not giving up. It's self-respect. It's enforcing the standard that you will only accept partnership, not manipulation. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both yourself and her is remove yourself from a toxic dynamic. Because here's what happens when you finally walk away from manipulation with dignity. You reclaim your peace. You remember who you were before this relationship damaged your self-worth. You create space for a woman who actually deserves you. And sometimes, though not always, the woman you left realizes what she lost and does genuine work to change. But even if she doesn't, you're free. Brother, internalize this completely. Love doesn't need strategy or manipulation. It doesn't hide your name in phones. It doesn't disappear for days without explanation. It doesn't flirt with backup options. Real love moves in truth and operates in respect. It's built on mutual investment, not emotional control games. If a woman starts playing these psychological games with you, it's not your job to fix her, teach her, or tolerate it hoping she'll change. Your responsibility is to protect your peace and self-respect, because peace is the one thing every manipulator fears most. They thrive on chaos and emotional reaction. Your peace and indifference destroy their power completely. Walk away, not to punish her or prove a point. Walk away to remind yourself who you actually are. A man who doesn't beg for basic loyalty and respect. A man who doesn't chase confusion and mixed signals. A man who understands that silence, when used with wisdom and self-respect, is the loudest and most powerful form of communication available to you.